Good morning, everybody. It is Friday. Thank goodness it's Friday, too. It has been a chaotic week with lots of fun, but lots of things. Man, I've got people outside mowing my lawn right now. That is, well, it's great that my lawn is getting mowed. It always seems to be at 10 a.m. on Fridays. So we'll get a little of that background noise for the next 10 or so minutes, and then hopefully they'll be all done. We have Man, it's been a busy week. We've already streamed, I think, 8, 9 hours this week, and we're not done. We got 2 hours ahead of us right now. 9Live5, who was on here a moment ago, I don't know if you're still here. Thank you for the reminder to get a bottle of water. Where should we start? We got live debugging figured out. That was a big win for us, and I spent a little time on a weird stream. We don't normally go on Thursdays. I have lots of other stuff. I'm good, man. 9Live, thank you for being here. Lots of fun stuff. I haven't seen you before. I don't know if you lurk or if you hang out or if you're new to the channel, but thank you for being here. We broadcast 10 a.m. to noon every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, but I'm starting to add Thursday and Tuesday streams because, well, let's be honest. I like doing this. I like coding. I like building stuff for Alexa, which is what I'm doing right now. And if I feel like if I'm going to write code, why not do it in public? So that's kind of how we got here. So if you're down, drop a follow. You'll get notifications and let you know when I'm on. But there's a bunch of stuff going on behind the scenes that we should probably talk about too. Let me jump right to this. I'll give you a little personal tour of what's going on. I just realized you guys can hear all that. Nobody told me. Okay, so if we go to a terminal here, let's get rid of all this stuff. We don't need any of this on the screen. Emails, and it's time for all this to go away. That can go away. This can go away. This can go away. My goodness. Okay. So we have a chatbot that runs behind the scenes. I don't currently have it running. So we're going to go look at that first. So we're going to go to GitHub folder. We're going to go to Jeff Blankenbot. And let's take a look at what's going on there. Yeah, we're just going to fire this up. So we're going to say node index.js. Boom, bot is running. So now let's talk about what is this bot? What does it do? Why do we have a bot? So there's a bunch of stuff that we can do in chat. I'm going to find out stuff about you, 9Live. So I'm going to say age 9Live5. You've been on Twitch for 10 months and 2 weeks. That's awesome. Super cool. I've been here a little bit longer. If you just most of the default commands for these just tell you about me. So if I say just !age, it tells you I've been here for 5 years or something. I haven't been broadcasting that long, but sometimes it seems that way. But I was a lurker once, and I hung out and just watched people's channels, and then I decided to pull the trigger and start doing my own. There's also followers, so you can do this. Followers 9. Let's see what you're doing. Let's see what's going on. Live 5. Nope. Three followers. That's a solid start. Do you need a fourth one? Do you need a fourth follower? Let's see if we can make that happen. Twitch.tv/9Live5. It can be hard to get followers sometimes, so I feel like sometimes it's just good to get in there and drop a follow and see what's going on. I'm even going to turn on some notifications. No, they're already on. When you follow, you get the notifications automatically. That's nice. All right, so we don't need to hear this. So I don't need your ads. Let's close that down. You got a fourth follower, so that's pretty cool. So there's a couple things just Twitch related, but there's a bunch of other stuff I'm going to show you here. So one of the other cool things you can see, there's this green glow behind me, this green lamp. If you type !lamp and then a color, so if you're a web developer, you probably know some hex colors you like, but you could also just say like blue. Boom, light turns blue. You feel free to do that anytime you like. And you can see the ambiance behind me change as you do some of those things. What are some of the other things that we've built into this? We also have, we generally have sound effects and some other stuff that we do in here. I'm trying to think of some of the other commands that we built. We have a dice roller, so if you say !dice, it'll automatically roll a 20-sided die for you. So sometimes we'll need to roll a die on this channel, and that's one way to make that happen. You can roll a 100-sided die if you want. Good morning, Gold Zulu. If I say dice 100, you can see I rolled a 12, and it gives us an indication that, oh, there we go, 9 live. Now, I don't know if you know this, but orange is actually my favorite color. That's a solid choice, orange right there. So, welcome to the show. You guys, we have a new participant, 9 Live 5. It reminds me of Johnny 5. I don't know why that's popping into my head. Probably because Johnny 5 was alive, so you've got two parts of that. But if you guys don't remember that, that's from a movie called Short Circuit from the 80s, which I am too old to have expectations. You've all seen that too. But anyway, here we are. We're back on the channel. It is 10:06 a.m. We've got a few people here already, and I think that's awesome. One of the other things I should show you, 9 Live, I don't know if you'll be able to do this yet, unless you've been watching for a little while. But down here at the bottom near the text box, if you click on that little icon, it says blanking points. When you hover over it, you get this nice little menu of things that you can do. We have one specific one here called Play a Sound Effect. And what this thing allows us to do is play sound effects in the channel. So you have to spend 100 of those channel points to do it, but you can do it by just saying the name of a sound effect. So I might say 2319. 2319! I don't know why I did that twice. I don't know how I did that twice, but that's okay. But that's an example of playing a sound effect. If you don't know what the sound effects are, you can always say sound list, and it will show you a link, and you can click on that link, and there's a long list. There's about 1,000 sound effects that you can choose from. So as you're playing along, if you want to play a sound effect, let people know that you thought something was interesting or cool, or you just want to blow an air horn or make a monkey make a noise or whatever, all of those things are here. Insomniac Geek, thank you for the follow. We're pushing hard towards 500, and I'm really glad that you guys are here and following and participating. So thank you guys all for doing that. Let's get back into some code, because that's really why we're here. That's what we want to do, and I think it's a lot more exciting than watching me just interact with the chat, though I will certainly do that. So for those of you that recall, we have been working on a skill that is meant for Alexa developers, so that they can come in and they can try out a lot of the interesting features and functionality that are available in building an Alexa skill. One of the things that's often confusing or hard to understand is like, well, what does that mean? How does that actually work? And yeah, you could probably read through some documentation, or you can look for a sample code on GitHub. We have all that stuff. But sometimes it's nice to just have one place that you can always go to and ask questions and interact. And like, here's a great example. We have a whole collection of things called speech cons that are available for you to use, and they're ways to get Alexa to say things with a lot more emphasis, right? So instead of her saying emphasis, she says emphasis, right? Now that's not actually one of the speech cons, unfortunately, so you can't use that specific term. But what you can do is if you come into the skill and you say something like, well, let's open the skill first. So that's this. I'm assuming I got everything working properly. Let's see if that's working. When we left off on Thursday.
Welcome.
There we go.
What should we do now?
So there's my welcome. What should we do now? And then I say, let's think of one of the speech cons. Let me show you my data for this, so we can really get deep into this. What browser do I want to destroy? We're going to destroy this one. And we're going to go to Airtable, where I have a database. And this data table, oh, it's so much work, so much data. And it's one of those things that, like, I need to find more. Like, it's a cool table. It's got a lot of interesting information in it, but I've got to find a way to give people more access to this, because I think everybody could use something like this. So this is a data table that includes every possible thing that Alexa can say in a number of languages. Not all the languages. I have not finished this, but I will eventually. But these are all of the things in this highlighted column here that Alexa can say with some emphasis. And if let's filter it down, because I'm only really working right now in the English United States locale. So we're going to say EN-US, -US. And I've just added a filter to this view. So now we're just looking at the English US ones. So you'll see that some of these work in other locales also. But I'm only showing you the ones that work in the United States. And so these are all things. Ooh, April Fool's is one I haven't heard before. Let's give that one a try. So if I come in here and say April Fool's.
Jeff, you broke something.
And we
What
broke
would you like
something.
to try?
That is exciting. Breaking stuff is how we learn. Handlers.speechCon intent is not a function. And my lambda, like my base core lambda index file, says it doesn't exist. So let's take a look. Why would that be broken? SpeechCon intent. Oh, I think we capitalized the S. We were going through and making some changes to this the other day. Let's see if in the handlers index file, we call it speech. Yeah, see, I went through and I capitalized everything, and I forgot to fix the call to it. So I think we've saved it. I think we've already fixed it. And let's try it again. So now I'm going to say April Fool's again. See what we get.
April Fools. What would you like to try?
Awesome. So you can see, there's two things we should see there. Two things we should be very excited about. The first is, oh my gosh, that was so fast. We didn't have to go wait for the deploy and push stuff to Lambda and have all that stuff happen. That was a quick fix, and boom, we're up and running. But the other was, we modularized all this code. We made it really simple to make changes and modify things. And now you could hear her say April Fools with a little more emphasis. So if I say that one more time.
April Fools. What would you like to know?
Now, there's a lot of magic that happened behind there. 9Line5 dropping the host for me. W. Giorgio's here this morning. I'm not even saying hi to everybody. That's so rude of me. JB Nunn, welcome to the show, man. The local debugging is huge. Like, this is game-changing huge. But I want to make sure I say hi to Gold Zulu and Kevin Evans. Gold Zulu actually called me out yesterday on Twitter. I think the tweet is right here. Let's go to my notifications. We'll find it. I got dragged into a couple of threads last night, but this right here, I don't know anything about this. I am not offering any endorsements or anything, but there's this service called Replica, which seems to be a way to generate an AI voice of your own voice, and it's free. Well, at least initially it's free. It looks like there's tiers, and with usage comes more cost. But I tried this out this morning. So Karthik is here. Create My Voice is here. Man, we got a party this morning. And so this Replica service, I went through the process of trying to create my own voice using their service, and now their AI is doing its magic blending goo or whatever, and that'll happen eventually. So I don't know when that'll be available. So we'll have to see. So I agree with you, Gold Zulu. What I'm interested to see, and I haven't looked at anything other than how to create my own voice, is how do I get it to say stuff? Do I have to call an API and it passes me back an MP3, or what is that process like? Or do I just have it generate the files? Because I don't really want to do that. I want it to generate the speech on the fly. But I don't know how that works. And I feel like it might be pretty slow if I'm doing it at the same time that I'm trying to interact with the user. So they do have an API. They definitely have an API, and I've applied to get access to it. But it's not clear to me yet, without having created a voice, how do I actually retrieve that data? So anyway, we're not going to spend any time on that today, but I just wanted to call out Gold Zulu for pointing me to this. And yeah, so we'll see what comes of that. Future updates maybe later. Let's get off the Twitter. There's no reason to be on there now. Okay, so dismiss this. The bot is running. Everything's good. Okay, so we just fixed our SpeechCon issue, and this is all working really nicely. So one of the things that we need to figure out. Oh, I was talking about SpeechCons specifically. I lose my track. It's a Friday. So I have this giant database of SpeechCons. One of the things that I want to do, and I think it'll make it very useful for people, is to categorize them. Karthik with the hydrate. Thank you, sir. This bottle of water does not smell good. Ugh. It smells like a locker room. Water tastes fine. Locker room smell, though. Anyway, so we have these types. I haven't really filled a lot of these in yet. But then you could say things like, I just want a random animal sound, or what I need to classify these for quite often is that an affirmative or a negative? So imagine you're building like a game show, and you want the game show host to be able to say, congratulations, or, oh man, you got that wrong, right? They could say, like, at the beginning of that, they could be like, bada bing, bada boom, you got that answer right, right? You could have that excited SpeechCon sound. So this might be one that we consider like a confirmation. Or you might say, bazinga, you got that right, right? Those are all potential things that you could use. And then she might say things like boo or boo-hoo or, let's see if we can find another bummer one. Oh, bummer, right? Bummer. Let's see how she says bummer.
Bummer.
Yeah,
What
bummer.
would you like to do next?
So those are all cool speech cons that you may want to use in your own skills. But one of the things that I found is that like you have to go find the page where the speech cons are, and then you have to scroll and find the right thing, and it just becomes kind of a hassle just to go hear them. So this is with this skill, you'll be able to just say like, give me a speech con, and I think it'll just randomly give me. If I say give me a speech con.
I heard you say undefined, but that isn't a speech con for your locale. Here's a random one
Here's
instead.
a random one.
Swoosh. What would you like to try?
Well, we just identified a bug, so let's go look at that. So we have this speech con intent. Let's go find the speech con intent and see like what's going on in there. What are we doing?
I have a plan.
Ooh, W. Giorgio has a plan. I like that. That is Star-Lord, and that's from Guardians of the Galaxy. I have a plan. I don't know that I'll do that. Developer. Balmer owns that. I don't know that I need to replicate. Good morning, LJ. It's good. Man, it's good to have everybody here. Okay. So maybe 1,000 followers, I'll do that. Yeah. Tell your friends, drop a follow. If you guys are watching right now and you haven't followed me, drop the follow. Make it fun for everybody. Let's get this thing up to 500 and have some fun that day. I want to give stuff away, right? That's something else that I'm working on. Is that something you guys would be interested in? I'm trying to figure out a way to do giveaways on here where we could like every once in a while do an Echo Dot, or maybe have like free Fridays or something where like every Friday we just give something away. No, you're never going to touch Balmer's take on that. I don't think I could potentially ever get that sweaty. Funko Fridays, there we go. So I do have, if you guys don't know this, I might have a small Funko Pop collection that's behind me, but I have one of these just sitting here, waiting to give it away. I can't give it away soon enough, but I'm not going to do it until we get to 500. That's going to be our carrot. That's how we're going to get there. So if you're not following and you want me to give that thing away, like, let's do it. But our speech con, the thing that I just noticed was that I heard you say spoken words. So what I'm doing here is I'm saying if we resolved something, then give them the speech con they asked for. What was that, Kevin Evans? What was that you're saying about the hashtag Alexa t-shirt? It's like we planned this. Hashtag Alexa. I am actively working on trying to put together an apparel store. Don't get me wrong. I would love to be able to do that. That was excellent timing, by the way, Kevin. But we want to look and figure out what's going on here. So if I resolve something, if I hit one of the speech cons that exists. Oh, come on, Gold Zulu. You know I'm not that kind of streamer. I'm not going to come on here and pull my shirt up. You can see there's a t-shirt under the jacket. We're good. Don't worry. I am far too fat to be just taking shirts off. So if resolved words is undefined, then that isn't undefined. That means that we're definitely going to have a match. But if we don't have a match, then I want to get them a random speech con, and I heard you say spoken words, but this doesn't actually work. I need to do something else. If spoken words, that means it exists. Then we're going to say this piece. Speak output equals. How are you going to shuffle that for me? There we go. Speak output. I heard you say spoken words, but that isn't a speech con. Here's a random one instead. But what I do want to say, else speak output equals, and this one's going to be, I've already picked my random speech con, so we're good. Is Alexa a trademark? Well, I didn't use our font. I didn't use our logo. But yes, it has, you know, we have the Amazon Alexa trademark, copyright, all that stuff is out there. So you can't use the logo, like you can't just go make stuff with the logo on it. I can, because I work with the company and we do all that stuff. But for something like this, for this hashtag Alexa shirt, I specifically went out of my way to not use anything that is copyrighted or trademarked. And so, yeah, that hopefully that answers your question, Gold Zulu. Okay, so else speak output. Here's a random speech con for you. And then we'll do like this and a these and a this and a that, and then we'll do this helper wrap speech con. And so this is another helper function that I've written where I know what the speech con term is, I know what I want to say, but I have to wrap it in some SSML. And so that SSML is what this wrap speech con is. So I don't have to remember that syntax or whatever. It just wraps it for me. So I think that will fix what we're doing here. So let's try that again. Give me a speech con.
Here's a random speech con for you. Choo choo. What should we do now?
Awesome. Now, one of the things that I probably should do, this feels card worthy. This feels card worthy. How do I do this? It is in a locale. Choo choo is, let's see where choo choo is. If we look at our data, choo choo is right here. It's available in most of the Englishes. It's not in English India for some reason, but it is in US, Australia, Canada, and GB. So you can use choo choo in any of those, and when you use it in that locale, it'll be in that Alexa voice, right? The English accent voice or the Australian accent voice. These do not work with poly voices. That's something to keep in mind, and actually, that's another thing we can fix. If we're going to do this, I feel like my wrap speech con should also indicate that it's in Alexa's voice, because the poly voices don't do them at all. But you can't say use Alexa's voice. You just have to... that's interesting. I don't know how I'll solve that problem. But what I do want to do is a simple card. And I never remember the syntax for this. Let's do Alexa SDK standard, no, simple card. I don't remember how to do this ever. Goodtricks14 wants to know if I know anything about hard drives. I don't know a lot. I will be honest with you about that. Is there something specific that you need to know about hard drives? Is it related to software development, or what's the question you've got, Goodtricks14? Let's take that. That's the thing that we need. And we're going to drop one of these right here. With simple card, this is the title of the card. I think I want the title of the card to be the speech con. So this is going to be speech con. I know the scope doesn't match right now. We'll fix that in a moment. And then you can use this speech con in your skill by with the following syntax. And then in here, we'll just take the helper wrap speech con part like that. We're going to do new line, so we have a little gap there. And B. couple things we got to fix. And then I think we can... get everything working here. Okay, so that's my with simple card. Now I'm actually going to take this out of here because I don't think I'm going to do it every time. Or maybe I will, but I think I need to know if resolved words, speak output. So my PC, when it's on the starting screen, it says stay on there for 20 minutes. Then it does a system restore. I think one of the drivers is corrupted. That could certainly be the case. Yeah, good tricks. I don't know that I'm going to be a lot of help for you on that one, unfortunately. But that's not a good sign. There is a way to... What you might look into doing, good tricks, is try to boot your machine into safe mode. I can't remember the key. It's either like Control or Shift or maybe some combination. But type in your operating system and just say, how do I boot in safe mode? And that will often boot your system in a way that allows you to skip a lot of that trouble and maybe get into the system and figure out what's going on. But as far as what you need to do, I don't unfortunately have answers for you on that one. Well, yeah, safe mode doesn't load any drivers. So I'm pretty sure that's the case. It's meant to like just do a core startup without anything running, so that so nothing can break. Okay. How do I want to do this? I don't really. Good Tricks 14. Thank you for the follow, man. Appreciated. For my limited amount of help, I do appreciate the follow. Okay. Think, Jeff, think. I want to write a card that gives you instructions on how to use this SpeechCon. So I feel like I need to do handler. I'm going to end up writing a helper function for this, I know it. Handler input dot response builder dot whatever that was with simple card. And this this SpeechCon is actually going to be this because we want to resolve it. Copy. That's going to be this. And this is going to be that. So that one works for this. Well, I got too many periods here. But when we get into this case, I could do it right. And let's just take this like so. And after we have our SpeechCon, it doesn't matter whether I heard you say something or whether I'm giving you a random one. In either case, I'm giving you a random one. So I could write this card thing right here, but this time it's going to be SpeechCon. And this is going to become that. This is going to become that. And let's see how much I broke it, because that's what we do. So give me a SpeechCon.
Here's a random SpeechCon for you. Okie dokie. What should we do now?
So what I want to see is in the Alexa app if I have a card now. And we can see that if we scroll down on this page, this side of the page. We should be able to see that we sent a card. And I don't see a card. That's interesting. Oh, no, I did, right here. Useful distraction. Boy, you just distracted me. Nice work. Thank you for the follow. Thank you for being here. We did send a card right here. The title is going to be Okie Dokie. You can use the SpeechCon in your skill with the following syntax, and say as Okie Dokie. Okay, so let's go look in our cards. Oh, yeah. So look at that. I'm going to cover my face so we can actually see it and not see some lights. But you can see Okie Dokie is right there, and it gives me the syntax, and everything's good. So the user, if they want to see how to use Okie dokie, all they have to do is grab that syntax and go. Awesome. Built. Done. So, oh, thank you, Karthik. Tasty fish cooked tonight. That sounds good. If fish were tasty. I'm a bit biased. I live in the Midwest of the United States, in Ohio, and there's rarely a time where I want to eat fish. It's hard to get. It's never fresh. I've eaten many a fish from Lake Erie, which is on the north side of Ohio, or on the south side of Canada, depending on your orientation. But I've never grown to like it. Like, I can eat it, and if somebody cooks up some fish, I'll eat it. But I don't like it. There's nothing about it that I'm like, man, I would like more of that, please. I'm a bit of a picky eater. We haven't really gotten into that too much on here, but there's a lot of things that I'll eat, but if I get to pick, it's a very limited set of things that I will actually eat. All right, so this is working. We're good. We've done the thing. I do feel like there's something to be said for, instead of all of this, should we do a SpeechCon card function, or should we do a card function? No. Every time I start messing with Response Builder, I kind of want to keep that stuff at home. But we could take the... do I want to do that? Do I? I have a hard time making decisions sometimes about this stuff. Our SpeechCon stuff is working. Let's just leave it for now. And we'll... My general rule is, the first time you write something, you just write it. You do what's necessary to get it done. Second time you write it, you take note of the fact that, like, hey, I've already done this before. I should really think about how I would want to refactor this. I only did it 2 times, so that's where we're at right now. However, if I get to a third time, if I find that I'm doing the same thing again a third time, that's the time. That's when we decide it's time to refactor. And then we go back and we fix and refactor and move stuff around. I'm not to 3 yet, but it does pain me to have those 2 things happening so close to one another. The problem that I have, the reason that I can't just make this one time, and maybe I could, is that I have... Could I make my life easier? No, see, like, I'm grabbing resolve words here, so I'd have to write a whole nother check to see if resolve word... I guess I could... If it's I mean, it's going to hit one of these 2 cases. So what if I do like this? Var SpeechCon equals nothing. And then I could say... here. See, you guys got... You didn't even know it, but you guys got me to refactor this. Because I hate it already. So we're going to set our SpeechCon value to this. In this case. And then in here, my SpeechCon is just going to be SpeechCon. Because that's all I want to do. And then in this case... I don't need to declare it anymore, and I certainly don't need it to be a var. There's some other things we should look at. These should all be... I'm not changing these. Why are we making them vars? That's supposed to be out of my vocabulary. Const. This has to be let. This should be let. Okay, so I think we're good there. Yellow's not a valid lamp color? Ooh, you just found me a bug, 9Live. I guess I'm expecting lowercase values. But that's a catch I can do, but that's actually an error coming from the LifeX API. That's not a me thing. I just pass whatever you say along to them. But I think like lowercase yellow is that will definitely work. But somehow their API said, hey, we don't know what to do with capital yellow. That seems like it's a miss on their side. I guess I could drop a 2 lowercase on that, but I'm not going to do it now. All right, so let SpeechCon equal nothing. SpeechCon here equals this. SpeechCon here equals this. And then we can take this chunk out. Go away. Did I take too much? I did. I took the else. You can't take the else. You can't do it. Now I can take this away. Well, I'll chop it. And then now we're much more streamlined. And then down here we can just have, because we're going to do a card every time anyway, so why not just do it right here? And so we'll lose the handler input part. And you can use this SpeechCon. Yeah, this is great. Save it up. Give it another run. Let's say, yeah, give me a random SpeechCon. Last time it was okie dokie. What are you going to give me this time? Let's go.
The requested skill did not provide a valid response.
Unexpected token. Unexpected token dot. Do I have a... I must have an extra period someplace. I do. Look, it's this semicolon right there. That was the issue. So did we kill the debug session, or we're still running? Good. Okay. So let's go. Give me another SpeechCon. No, now it's gonna break.
Sorry, I'm not sure
now
about that.
I gotta start the skill again.
There was a problem with the requested skills response.
What's the problem now? What did I do wrong now? Open my skill, please.
There was a problem with the requested skills response.
Oh, goodness. We're not hitting this anymore. Oh, yeah, see, the debug session did end. I was wondering if that was going to just die. So we start the debugger back up. Now let's fire up the skill. Tones noises 01. I didn't even hear that.
What should we do now?
Give me a SpeechCon.
Here's a random SpeechCon for you. Well done. What would you like to do next?
And then... Did I get a well done? I got a well done card. So it's working. Okay, so we refactored that enough now. I think we're done. So this is our SpeechCon intent. Now you either get a SpeechCon that you matched, or I give you one randomly, and I say, hey, I heard you say taco, but that isn't a SpeechCon, so here's a random one instead. And I give you a random one, and then I tell you how to use it because I send you a card. This, I think, is going to be a key to a lot of... There is a lot to look at when a miscode happens. Yeah, you can definitely break things pretty quickly, but the nice thing is I get that bright orange text, which I guess is gone now. That lets me know that, hey, by the way, this thing is broken. There wasn't too much to look at. Oh, Gold Zulu, there is a JS script being run. There absolutely is. In this file that I'm not going to open, called launch.json, I am defining the BST in my bin, that is the JSON file that is part of their node package. I 100% am pointing to a JS file. No doubt about it. I'm not opening this file because I also have a bunch of other like keys and stuff in there. But yes, for sure, if you look at the BST docs for proxy, that is how that works. Okay, so we're back in action. We're back to a place where the SpeechCon thing is working. That was a surprise bug I was not expecting this morning. All of these work, again, for the US English, but you can see that these work in other locales as well. If you haven't seen this stuff, if you haven't seen the SpeechCons, I've been here a few times. This is the doc page for where you find all this stuff. So this is our Alexa technical docs. And if it ever loads, there we go. So you can see that like this is the example right here. Say it as an interjection. That's what it's actually called behind the scenes. And then we just have a list, and you can hear any of them.
Anywho. Anytime.
But instead of coming in here and having to click,
Arr.
you can either hear them randomly. It's not the debugger that Jeff Nunn has. No, this is using Bespoken tools, which looks like this. So if I go to Bespoken, maybe, bespoken.io, they have a bunch of tools here. Some of them cost some money. Some of them are pretty awesome. But you can come in here, and one of the things that you can do, if I can figure out which one it is continuous testing. There's a place I click, and then I end up with a link to the proxy. Wait for this page to load a little bit. I never remember how to find it. What if I just say proxy? They have a CLI that you can install. Introducing BST proxy. This came out in 2016. It's been around a little while. But basically, I just say BST proxy lambda index.js, and it runs my function as a lambda locally on my machine. This is exactly what we're looking at, and goes through that whole process. And so it gives me a URL. You can see that was given somewhere here. It's this URL right here, and I set that as the endpoint of my Alexa skill, and then we're off and running. So I'm sure I'm just showing you guys that endpoint. Somebody's going to try and hit it, but please don't do that because you might break what I'm trying to do here. But anyway, that is how I'm doing the local debugging. Yes, that's in the launch JSON. You're correct. So SpeechCon is done. Let's close that down. One of the other things that I really wanted to build was a sound effects engine. And one of the luxuries I have, because I have all of the sound effects files, is I think I could play any of them. Maybe let's toy with that. What do you guys think about being able to ask the skill for sound effects? Does that seem like a thing? Personal info, close. Just keep closing files. Okay, so I think that's one of the other things we could do is the sound effects. Now we're going to run into some issues with this, and I don't know the right way to solve this, but we're going to try it just so that we can do it. So I think if we go to my data, I have I have sound effect in here, but I don't think I have any data in this table. I don't. But we have a file. If we go to, let's just go open up a Finder window here really quick. And if I go to GitHub and I go to the Jeff Blankenbot, in here I have sound effects, which is all the MP3 files, right? But I also have this sound effects text file. What was this? This is all of the sound effects. The trick we run into is, you can see here's a good example. If I blow this up a little bit, so you guys can see what I'm doing here. Those are all dog sounds. So I might have all of those sound effects already in a database or whatever, however I want to store them, but a way for me to access those files. Here's where we run into issues. I could build a slot. In fact, I have a slot. If we go look at the slot for my skill, let's go look at this. In here, if we scroll down far enough, we're going to find I have some body templates, and then we get into a slot value called sound effects. This sound effects slot goes on forever, and it goes on and on and on and on. Now, if you can say to me, cat meow 1x2, and I can somehow parse that into the name of a sound effect, then I could play it for you. But it's really, really unlikely that you would know the names of the sound effects perfectly. You're probably going to say, play cat, or play cat purr. And with those cases, even with cat purr, you can see I have cat purr 1, 2, 3, cat purr meow. There's 4 of them. So now I've got to search, and I've got to come back and like give you some. Oh, what do I call it? Disambiguation options. Which one of these do you want? Or I found 17 results. I don't really want to have people narrow it down like that. And I actually don't think it's that important. Like it's not so vital that you be able to hear the exact sound effect. Now, if you say the right name, great. I think I can do that. If you say play a cat sound, I'm just going to pick one of the cat sounds and play it for you. I think that's probably the right way to go. But in order for me to parse and search and do all this stuff, I really need a data table that has all of this information, because then I can add metadata to this stuff too. So I have this file. Let's see, because I've already parsed this out, and there is one here that I need to get rid of. It's files.txt. Okay, so I have all of these names. It goes on for quite literally forever. There is over 1,000 of them. It goes down to zippers, and there's 15 of those, right? Like 15 different zippers. So I'm going to take all of those sound effects, and we're going to go over to my table, and we're going to try a thing. What if I just do that? That's exactly what I wanted. Okay. Boom. Watch this. I have a table with all the names, all the sound effects names. Now, there's actually a secret sly reason for me to do this too. It's because I want to be able to generate the JSON to be able to drop those things into my slot. So we've done that for SpeechCon. So you can see here in the SpeechCons table, if I scroll over here, I have Alexa slot JSON. This is giving me the actual JSON values. If we looked at our slot for, I think the stuff that I'm showing there is way here at the bottom. All of these answers, all of these SpeechCons, which are somewhere in here too. Yeah, these are the SpeechCon sounds. And you can see that when I name this slot, it just goes on forever. This is called SpeechCons ENUS. And the reason that I did this is because I want, for each locale, I only want to have the SpeechCons that make sense and match for that locale, right? So we'll actually be building a different model for each locale. And for each of those locales, we will have a different slot, because we'll only want the ones for the specific locale that we're building for. So I could probably not do, I probably don't need to do this. SpeechCons NUS, I don't need to do. That's only going to create more work for me. And then way up here at the top where we have our SpeechCons slot type, I want to make sure that I change that too. This will make my life easier when I start creating those other SpeechCon intent. The type is now just SpeechCons. Okay, we've changed our model. That's the downside to this local debugging, is that I have to push this up to the server in order for it to work. But I think we'll do it the manual way rather than trying to push everything. Just a copy and paste job. But so now we have the SpeechCon stuff working, and I don't even think we have a sound effects intent. But it'll be very similar to SpeechCon. So let's just take this one. Let's think about the question that was just asked me. What is the difference between samples given in slots and samples given in the actual intent? Samples in the slot. Well, let's talk about the intent first. These samples here, I got to change this. This is going to be, so we'll just work through this and I'll explain it as I go. This is going to be sound effect intent. This is going to be sound effect. This is going to be sound effect. And this is going to be give me a sound effect. We're just going to change all these words. And this is already, I can already see this failing for me. Pick a sound effect. Because if I make all these the same, we're going to use different lead-in words for sound effects than we do for let me hear a sound effect. And then we're going to say play a Sound effect. Sound effect. I think there's going to be a lot of that. Say a sound effect. This is the one I really care about is the one that has the indication. Say these will work fine. Say a sound effect. Ask dev tips for a sound effect. A sound effect. And then I feel like I should have another one. Play. I only have one up there though, don't I? Say this. Play a sound effect. That kind of makes sense. Play a. I guess I could do another one that's like play sound effect. Okay, so we have this new intent, sound effect intent. So let me answer Gold Zulu's question. What are these samples? What does this mean? What am I doing here? This sample, this stuff right here, is training data for Alexa to tell her, hey, when you see someone say something like this, they mean the sound effect intent. This is the intent that we should send to the user. This is the indication that we should give them. And then in here, you can see that I have these slot values, sound effect, right? That's what these pieces are. These are the values from my slot that could fill in here. So play a cat sound effect, play a dog sound effect, play a train sound effect, play a zipper sound effect, right? All of those things kind of get plugged into there. It uses those as an expansion, like a variable. So that I don't have to write a sample for every one of those examples. I can just have slots. But we take that a step further. Now when we come down here to our sound effect slot, which is like this stuff. So these don't have samples. I'm going to find some slot values that have samples for you so you can see. They aren't called samples. They're called synonyms. I'm trying to find a good example of that. Here we go. My friend Davis Bitsky is a good example of this, right? So for this slot value, this is for my answer slot that we worked on earlier. The value of this slot is David Isbitsky. That's the official way we want to refer to him. But we have synonyms for him. What if you say, tell me about Dave, or tell me about David, or tell me about Isbitsky? Or I should add another one here. Actually, we shouldn't do it here. We should do it in our database. But if I go to my answer table, and we look at David, who's in here somewhere, David, one of the other synonyms I should add for him is Dave Isbitsky. Right? So if you say Dave Isbitsky, that's different from David Isbitsky. So I want to make sure that all those synonyms live on there. So we have the synonyms in here for each slot value so that you don't have to say exactly the thing. So the way that these kinds of things work, imagine you say, you want to know about me, right? You might just say Blankenburg. But you might also say Jeff Blankenburg. You might say Jeff. All of those are synonyms for my name. And so if we scroll down to Jeff, wherever he is, you can see that I have both Jeff and Blankenburg here. But I also have Jeff for Jeff Nunn and for Jeff Bezos. And so when you run into those situations where there are multiple matches, I get multiple responses back from the skill that say, hey, I matched some things, but there was actually like 4 of them. And then what I do for the answer is I say, oh, you said Jeff. Did you mean Jeff Bezos, Jeff Blankenburg, or Jeff Nunn? Speaking of subscribing and Jeff Nunn, look at that. W. Giorgio just gave a subscription to Jeff Nunn. That's so nice. Thank you for the subscription. But those 3 things will pop back to the user and say, which one did you mean? And then when they say, oh, I wanted Jeff Nunn, because who wouldn't want to pick Jeff Nunn? When you say Jeff Nunn, now we have 1 identifiable match, not 3, because we've given additional data. So it's a way for us to prompt the user and say, like, which one of these do you mean? And when they say the other thing, it's made them rethink how they say the thing. They didn't just say Jeff this time, vaguely. They said, I want Jeff Nunn, and boom, Jeff Nunn's answer gets funneled to them, and they carry on their merry way. So if we go back to our answer intent, which is way up here at the top, I wish I could break this file down. If we come in here to our answer intent, change voice, display template, APL, got news, SpeechCon, sound effect. If you say, give me a sound effect, or any of these like generic ones that don't have a slot in them, I'm just going to randomly pick you a sound effect like I did with SpeechCons. But if you say, play a sound effect, play cat, I really feel like play is gonna. Is there other ways that you would do this if you were using the skill and you wanted to have it give you a sound effect? I might say give me. Let's try that. I'm gonna put a play a. Again, this is not an exhaustive list. This is meant to be a representative sample for Alexa to infer the rest of it. But we'll say give me a sound effect. Sound. Give me a cat sound. Give me a train sound. This is a good start. Again, we're not committed to, like, this is not a forever moment. It's very possible that we will modify and grow this many, many times. The samples I meant is actually in slots. I'm not sure exactly what you mean. Can you show me a syntax you mean or something like that? Because if we look at, do you mean in here? Let's go see. Let's go see what he's talking about. Interaction model schema. Language model, language model. All the way down. Okay. Well, I don't see any samples here. Where do you see samples? Those are prompts. I see slots here. I'm going to arriving plan. I'm looking for that specifically. Samples. No, this right here, this samples. This samples. Okay, I see what you're talking about. My guess, and I'd have to see this for sure, is I have here. I have to check this manifest to make sure. I don't know if that actually gets indicated, but I think that they're. Here we go. Okay. So these here, this get travel time and arriving planet, they both have samples here, and the samples are used only when you're doing dialogue management, dialogue confirmation. And so you can see here that this is where I'm actually using the get travel time slot. The get travel time intent, but you have samples only when you're using dialogue management. So let me show you what that looks like here. If I come over to my build tab, if you guys haven't used this dialogue management stuff, it's super cool, and it can save you a lot of time in responding to your users. But what you're basically doing is providing. So let's use our answer intent with our answer slot, and I can do things like slot filling and slot confirmation. Is this slot required to fulfill the intent, right? So that's one of the examples that we can use. So I can do this. This is where those samples come in. When we start talking about slot filling and dialogue management, I can also go to my actual intent. So let's just try this. Is this what you meant? Because we're going to overwrite this in a second anyway, and so then I can just say save the model, and let's go look at the Json editor to see what this model looks like now. So if I go to my answer intent for my slot, where did it save that? don't see that value though. But this is the thing that I just added. Confirmation required, slots. I would expect the samples to be in here. But the answer to your question, and the reason that you won't see it on my stream very often, is because I very rarely use dialogue management. I would prefer to handle all of those decision-making tasks myself, and I also don't. I don't often build skills, and maybe this is something that I should venture into a little. I don't often build skills that have required information. If you think about like the Star Wars skill or this one, there's not a time where anything's required, right? You can ask me about anything you want, anytime, and then we'll just have our conversation. But there's not a time where it's like a travel agent, right? A travel agency, I can't even do most of the work that I need to do for you until I know where you're flying from and where you're flying to and what day you want to go and what day you want to return. Like, I need that information to go search flights for you, and I can't do anything until I have it. So that's a really good example of where dialogue management makes sense, because then I can say, I need you to get me these 4 values. Don't even talk to me don't even talk to my code. Don't send me anything until you have those 4 values. We can't do anything else. Just use these samples. Use these examples as ways to communicate with the user and tell them that you're still looking for this data. And so if I need those 4 values, right, to, from, when, for both dates, and I say I want to fly to San Francisco on January 24th, it can say, okay, I heard San Francisco January 24th. Where are you flying from? And it uses those samples to be able to provide back to the user and say, hey, where are you flying from? It can also do that for the dates and everything else, and it can do it in ways that are ordered too. So they're basically waiting for the user to say one of those samples to be able to fill that stuff in. That is exactly right. And I think if we go back to my answer intent, you can see that dialogue delegation strategy is intent, well, you have intent confirmation, but I could also come into like auto delegation, and this will force these things to be required. You can say slots are required. There's lots of other things that you can do. How can I have it not close and stay in the skill? W. Georgia. I had trouble. So Goldzula, I hope that answers your question. I had trouble with my skill on Fire TV exiting the skill when I try to break it. How can I not have it close and stay in the skill? Well, W. Giorgio, it depends on what kind of error your skill is having. If the code can't run and it fails, there's no saving that. If, however, you have some simple issues, that's where my error handler comes in. And if we look at my error handler down here, you probably have one too. I have this add error handler here. And then if we look at my actual error handler, I'm just calling out to a function called error, but it receives the error and defines how that stuff is structured and works for you. So that error handler is the one that says, Jeff, you broke something. I went in and changed that message. So there are times where your skill will say, it's not responding or it's not working, and those are times where you're just not going to be able to catch it. But for most of the errors that my skill makes, even syntax errors, things like that, this error handler will catch that for me. But if it can never get to this point, then the skill will just break, and you'll have to go through the standard debugging channels. So hopefully that answers your question, W. Giorgio. Okay, so we were talking about sound effects. We were talking about how do we get all the sound effects in here, and we have a good set of samples that we're going to use for this. It's already 11:04. I will tell you, this is the most enjoyable part of my day every day. Having this conversation with you guys, talking through things, helping you understand, but also helping me understand. I'm doing stuff I've never done before. So I think this is good for everybody, and I'm glad you guys keep showing up. Sound effect intent now exists. So we're going to just take this whole... No, we're not. We're not going to do that. The other thing that I needed to do was the data. So we're going to go back to the sound effect table. No, we're not. We're going to go to the SpeechCon table, and we're going to grab this Alexa slot JSON that's here. And this is a whole formula that I've written, and we're just going to take that, and we're going to come over to our sound effect table, and we're going to create a new table called Alexa slot JSON, because we want to know what this JSON is for. And there are other places that we might use this too, which is like a chatbot or something like that. And we would use maybe different JSON for that. So this is the Alexa slot JSON we're using. We're going to paste this. Are we going to have synonyms for these? Yeah, we probably will. So let's just try it as is. It's probably going to break. Maybe it didn't break. Oh my gosh, we have slot values. That is... Guys, Airtable makes things so easy. Look, I mean, look at this. So what I will do, eventually, is we're going to... If we look at this, this is looking into a column called synonyms, which I haven't even created. If we look at this box right here. No, it's not. No, it's not. I just don't have any synonyms. Where is the one... None of those have, because none of them have synonyms. So let's take a step back. Let's take a look at, because I think these sound effects are going to have speech counts. So I know I've done this here in the Star Wars one. This is another giant data skill. So let's look at the Star Wars one and see what we did there for like character. Why you keep opening these views for me? Okay, so we have slot values here. So let's see what we do with this one. We have, we have a synonyms column, which I'll have to create. So let's take this one, and we'll use this formula instead. So come way down here, come into our data, talk about sound effects. We have this new slot JSON. We're going to take this formula instead. Actually, let's stop. We're getting ahead of ourselves. We need a table called synonyms, and then I think we can do this. Maybe it would have broken otherwise. How do you feel about this? Synonyms, record ID, boom. Should look the same. But if I type something in here, like taco, you can see it's happening slowly. It's a slow interface sometimes. But now I have a synonym inside. So if I do taco, Jeff, Steve, Carl, Jane, Wendy, you can see that my formula automatically fills all that stuff in, puts quotes around everything. God, that's gorgeous. Okay, so we don't actually want those synonyms, but it's good to see that we can do that. So, like for example, I might have air horn. Oh, you know what else I want to do? I want to get rid of all of those underscores. That's going to be no bueno when we try to talk about these things. So for our name, is there a replace? Learn more. This is the formula field reference. I'm guessing if I just replace. No. Next. Replace. String, start character, number of characters. Replace is probably the one I want. Is there another place that I can do replace? Substitute. Maybe, yeah, that's even better. Occurrences with old text with new text. I just want to get rid of those underscores. So you can optionally specify an index. I don't want the index. So I want substitute name underscore nothing. Or no, underscore space. So I think we can just do it like this. So we just take this name right here. We're going to say substitute. Like that. And then this is going to be in quotes, I would assume. And then I want to replace it with a space like that. And then a close parentheses and save. Oh, look at that. Look at this. So we got rid of the underscores. So now we can say air horn 01, air horn 02. And I think I'm going to keep those leading zeros. But what I can do with all these air horn sounds, as an example, is I can just take them and I can be like, all right, all the air horns are going to get this. I don't know how far I need to go. We'll go down to here. All of those are going to get air horn. And then these are like airboat, right? So I probably don't need to synonymize those. But what I would like to do is some of the bigger ones, like this is Amazon SFX bird forest. Like you're never going to get that. But I could take this bird and just drop this all the way down to all these birds. Again, this is a lot of like catalog management, but this one's a robin, right? So we'll do robin. Those 3 or 4. This is chickadee. So by doing this, by adding this metadata, these synonyms, this means that now you can say things like chickadee and you'll get sound effects that actually are a chickadee sound, right? This one, I'm going to add forest to it. And we'll do that for the next two also. But they're separate synonyms, so you can just say bird or forest, and it'll work for you. Okay, so we can do this forever, but I'm not going to spend time classifying all of these. We'll do one more, cat. Cat has a bunch. Right, but this metadata is what... Oh, I just did the thing without the thing. Cat goes down to here, and then we could do like per... What is my slot JSON starting to look like? Yeah, it looks so clean and nice. Oh my gosh. Okay, so this is also a per. Those three. This is a meow, so we'll do a meow. Because I'm guessing there's also meows someplace else. Meow. And then this is angry screech, angry meow. I guess we could do another meow. So if you say, give me a meow sound effect, it's going to be able to find those things. So now we have all this JSON. And again, we're going to have to update this all the time. But here's the magic. Here we go. So I'm going to take this. Just take this whole column. Copy. Here we go. Check this out. We come down into this. And we're going to find we're already in our sound effects. It's such a big part of this JSON. We're going to take these. This right here, each one of these is an individual node of the sound effects. And check this out. We're just going to scroll down until we get to the bottom. We're looking for zippers. We're looking for zippers. I'm not hearing the sound effects, by the way. W. Giorgio is asking how I get it into my JSON. Here, we're doing it right now. So I'm going to take this. We just got to the end. Right here. Take that. Delete, paste. That's it. That's it. I just did it. I just did all the stuff right into the file, and it's there. And so now we have all of these sound effects, all with unique IDs. Now, here's where things blow up. If I hit save, Prettier's going to go crazy on me and reformat this. And I really don't want it to, because I want to keep this list as concise as I can. But it's so many sounds. There's so many sound effects. So this is part one. This is part one of getting the sound effects to work, is that we have those sound effects available to us. I'm going to save once. Let's see what happens. Boom. Look at that. Oh my gosh, it just made it 17 times longer. It's easier to read, but 17 times longer. All right, so the file's saved. I'm going to take this. Now I have a sound effects slot, and I have sound effects under, so I'm going to take this whole thing. And we're going to come over to my skill. And we're going to go in here, and we're going to blow away everything we just changed up here, because I didn't want to save that anyway. And I'm going to take this whole thing, paste it. So you can see I've got voice things down there. I've got all of my answers. I've got all of my speech cons. If we keep going up, you're going to see all of my sound effects. Everything's here, right? It's 3,000 lines. There's so many lines of code of JSON. But the good news is that this all gets processed, pre-processed, right? We don't have to worry about loading this at runtime. You can save and then use VS Code folding to fold to a certain level. Oh, I see. Yeah, I probably could do that. I actually don't really care. I don't intend to replace this often, but it's pretty cool. So we're going to save our model. We're going to build our model. Jeff, no, I just added a... Oh, custom type values must not be empty. What are you talking about? You gonna show me where the issue is, or? Oh man, how do I know where it's broken? I was wrong. It's 10,000 lines. This file. How do you see that it's line 10,212? Or are you just saying that's how many lines there are? We're just going to keep going here. Let's see if it happened right before this. Maybe I blew out something right before it. I don't know if it's even going to show me the error. Or maybe I didn't change my slot name. I don't know. Let's take a look. It's probably just my slot name. Sound effects is the name of my slot name. If we go up here to the sound effect intent. Right there. See, I didn't put an S on it. That's all it was. It wasn't a JSON formatting issue. This is a me being dumb issue. So if we do that, that should solve our problem. Save model. Missing type value still. Maybe I did fix it. Okay. Let's see if it pukes on me again. Okay, fine. So we're going to build this. I'm going to go do another thing for myself. This is a little favor I'm doing for my future self. We're going to come into ask states, and we're going to get rid of this. And rid of this, because otherwise it'll freak out on me. So that's just for later when we want to deploy. Oh, you can't see the error? Oh, it's behind my video, actually. That's what it was. Yeah, this is something else I need to rethink. I like having my screen so big, but I think maybe for you guys what I need to do is something more like this, but not just like the browser so that I have all this empty space over here, but like actually rearrange my scene. Dismiss. Let's see what the question is today. Agree. Okay, so it looks like full build successful. That worked. So this is where we can come in and try evaluate model. Let's do this real quick. If I say, give me a cat sound effect. We hit the sound effect intent. The slot is cat. These were other options that it thought maybe I could get, but this is what it would have gone with. Sound effect intent, where the sound effect and the word cat came through. Yeah, my desktop's a little messy right now. Those are actually like old files that I rarely save stuff to my desktop. Okay, so sound effect intent is working. That's the good news. So now we should be able to come over here to test. And let's give it a run. We don't need to see errors anymore. Let's go back to big time. Okay, so we're going to say open our skill, and it's not going to break because that's not what happens.
There was a problem with the requested
And
skills
it's because
response.
my debug session is running. What's the issue? Thank you for updating the lamp, W. Giorgio. Let's just start our debug session again and see what the issue is. Because well, that should work.
There was a problem with the requested skills response.
Did I destroy the endpoint? I probably destroyed the endpoint. Endpoint. No. Did it change? No. You're not hitting my skill though. Save endpoints. Everything in life is so fragile.
There was a problem with the requested skills response.
Debugger's running. I'm not getting anything. What can we do about that? Why isn't it hitting the debugger? Yeah, this feels like an endpoints thing, but I just checked it. Endpoint. Okay, it's been updated. Let's try one more time. The Empire Strikes. Thank you. I'm gonna maybe not say the whole name. I'm not like a prude or anything, but it doesn't seem like I need to say that whole name. But thank you for the follow. Big Star Wars fan here. How about now? You gonna work now?
There was a problem with the requested skills response.
What? What? Empire Strikes. Join us in the chat, man. There's lots going on. Lots of people talking. Lots of chatbots to play with. Chatbot is still running. That's a good sign. What could be going on that would prevent my skill from working? Oh, that one I heard, W. Giorgio. Money Coins 05. Nice. That was a very short one. I should be getting some kind of error or issue. We're going to try and just point it at the lambda and see if that does anything for me. It is broken, but like in a more serious way. Endpoint. Build. Let's make sure that all of this is building properly, that we're not somehow missing an error. I thought we got through the build process, but it's not cooperating right now, that's for sure. But we do have our sound effects intent right here with 10 utterances, 1 slot. We can see our sound effects slot right here. Quick build was successful, that's good. Sound effects slot. Looks like this, there's 1,029 values in there. Lots and lots of data. I blew that all away, Gold Zulu. Trained our model. I have an utterance conflict, but I'm aware of that. That's fine. That's not hurting anything. If you guys want to see it. Full build successful. So the build is successful. Utterance conflict. I have the word Justin because Justin Jeffress is on my team. He's one of the people that we would ask the answer intent for information about. But the change voice intent also has a voice named Justin. And so Alexa will try to disambiguate, but sometimes I just don't know how to solve this. It just happens that his name is Justin, but it's not hurting anything. It just means Alexa may may potentially get that wrong once in a while. All right, so let's try test. Now that everything's working, full build successful, endpoint is pointing to the right place. Go to my skill.
There was a problem with the requested skills response.
It's not hitting me here. It's not hitting. Well, we've sat here long enough. Let's just do this and see if this doesn't fix it for us. I'm just going to push everything up to the server. This will also reset my endpoint stuff to be the AWS Lambda endpoint rather than the oh, see, here we go. Is this because of this? I think this is the same issue. So let's go find our sound effects slot. How you like me now? Is there other validation issues that you'd like to deal with? Fight me on? I mean, this JSON that it created looks pretty good. The JSON's not freaking out, right? There's no panic there. So that feels good to me. I hope it's not 100,000 lines. And actually, this is another thing, Gold Zulu, that I'd be interested to play with is... No, I don't think there is a way. And there's actually a maximum file size, too, which is something that I have to be cautious of. But I have to look at... do I need all this in here? Could I use something like dynamic entities to populate this later? Dynamic entities is limited. I can only update a slot with 100 values at a time. But I could change the values of the slot on the fly every single time the user speaks to me. So they could say, I want a cat sound effect, and I could then change the value of the slot to just be all the cat ones. But that doesn't solve the problem for the initial thing, which is I think how a lot of the user interaction is going to go. The way I imagine most of the time it's going to be is you're going to one-shot your way into this, and you're going to say, ask DevTips to give me a cat sound effect. And it's going to be a one-time thing. It's going to play the cat sound effect, and you're going to be on your way to working or doing whatever you were doing. So for you to open the skill and then say, give me a cat sound effect, and then it's like, oh, okay, cool. Now I know you want cats. Okay, I've just changed my slot. Now what kind of cat sound effect do you want? Oh, I want a meow. Like, I don't think I want to take it that far. I mean, if we have to, we have to. Okay, we've uploaded. Let's see if our testing works now. Open the skill.
Hello. What would you like to try?
Give me a cat sound effect.
You just triggered sound effect intent. What would you like to try?
Okay. Well, we're back to working. That's the good news, is that deploying this all seems to fix that issue that I run into occasionally. But now we should be able to come into build and choose our endpoint and switch it over to HTTPS and change this to this, change this to this, and save. And then make sure the debugger is actually running. And it is. And so now we should be able to do the same thing, hitting my local code. So now if I say this,
there was a problem with the requested skills response.
but I got a response. Let's try that again.
There was a problem with the requested skills response.
Weird. Weird, I don't know why this is happening. What can I do to figure this out? What am I doing differently this time, right now? From my local machine. Yeah, the update... No, when I updated it, it worked. But that was when it was pointing to my Lambda function. Then I went through and I changed it again to be my local development environment. You see, you add all of these layers to things, and it gets more complicated and more brittle. Alexa does want to see me struggle today. I am on the struggle bus right now, for sure. View model versions. Okay, I don't need to do that. Because I don't have anywhere to see what's wrong.
There was a problem with the requested skills response.
You know? If we're not actually hitting here, and this was working a moment ago, I'd say maybe it's because I'm on VPN or something, but like, it was working earlier in this session. This is that JS file I was mentioning earlier, Gold Zulu. The Bespoken Tools Proxy JS. That's the one that is getting the job done for running the debugger, but it's just not running right now. Well, let's stop the debugger. There's one other thing I can try. That is this. npm run start. That's the same URL. Does this do anything different?
There was a problem with the requested skills response.
No. Yeah, I guess it could be that endpoint's dead, but they give this to me on the fly. So, like, if it changed, like, this is the URL I'm supposed to use, so I would think if it changed, they would tell me there that it had changed. What I see, though, is when I come to endpoint, it looks right. The last time I came here, it was empty. There was nothing selected. Yeah, I have the second option selected. Let's try this one more time. Is it running? It's running.
There was a problem with the requested skills response.
I don't know. I don't know why that's broken. Everybody wants to make everything so cool and complex. Sometimes it's just not. Here's the thing, Gold Zulu. Like we can grasp at a lot of the potential options on this stuff, but this was working earlier. Like, we didn't change anything, so I don't understand why it would stop working now. I'm just going to deploy again. We'll leave it against the Lambda, because what I really wanted to see. Well, I guess we did it once anyway. Let's go look at the logs for this. If we go to, this is fine. watch. Let's go see what the log for that cat request that I made earlier was while we wait for this to deploy. And see if we can't at least see what that's... Yeah, I wonder if there could be a bespoken issue too. Like I said, there's so many possibilities. Okay. 11:35. I guess the last time I did that was 11:29. So when our request envelope came in, this was the launch request. This was sound effect intent. And here's the challenge I really run into. You said cat, and I pick 5 values. I should probably just pick a random one, right? I don't think I always want to pick the first one. The challenge with entity resolution, I think this is the thing that I was trying to demonstrate to all of you, is I get a maximum of 5 results. So there's more than 5 cat sound effects in the database. In fact, if we go look at the database, there's 35 that have the word cat in them. Oh, well, I guess maybe not entirely, because that's, so what if we just, can I just search the name column? But we have angry cat there. I'm guessing maybe the other values are showing up in the, they just happen to be in the unique IDs. So group all types. Yeah, I can do that. Oh, see, we have more. Is it cat? Cat is in the ID. So it looks like it's just that small collection at the beginning. This group, but it's still more than 5. So I would have to say, oh, I got 5 results. If I search all of the ones that have the word cat in them, that's easy to do. I could bring them all back. How do I want to do this? I could search the database for all the cat ones. I could potentially play all of them for me. If you say play a cat sound effect, I could just be like, here's cat angry meow 1, here's cat angry meow 2, here's cat angry meow 3. And play all of them for you. That's an option. Unspecified, welcome man, hey, yo. Happy Friday to you too, sir. Glad you're here, even if it's only briefly. We're just trying to figure out how we want to play sound effects for users when they use our skill. And they say they want a cat sound effect. How do we decide which one? I don't know the right answer. I feel like if you say play a cat purr, I think I'm just going to take... I think it's just going to behoove users to be more specific. Give me a cat meow. Okay, here's what I've got. And then of the cat meow ones, there's still 5 or 6. Then I'm just going to randomly play one of them. Oh, you're saying have me flag it? Now I've got to keep track of every sound effect every user has ever heard. That's a lot of data. It's doable. But it might also be... No, there's nothing wrong with having all that data. I'm just thinking, like, what if every time they say play a cat sound effect, maybe they're using it for other purposes, right? This is generally meant to be a developer skill where I want to hear the cat sound effects so that I know which one I should use in my skill. And if they're more elaborate, like cat meow or cat purr exactly, then they'll get the one they want. But I guess as long as I'm not consistent. So if they say play a cat sound effect, they're inconsistently going to get a random one. But I will also have to tell you what the name of it is so that you know. So this is called Amazon SFX Cat Meow 1X02 or whatever. Maybe I write you a card so that you know the actual name of the sound effect so that you can use it. But I'll intro each sound effect by saying this one is called, and I'll give you the name of the sound effect. That might be the right way to go. So at least you know, like, oh, I got a random one. But if you keep asking for cat sound effects, you're going to get a random one, but it's really going to be limited to 5, and it might be the same 5 every time, which means you never even get to see the other, I don't know how many rows I selected there, 11? There's going to be 6 that you never hear. So my concern is that you won't notice a cat purr, or you won't notice a cat meow. Because maybe, I don't know. I don't know the right answer here. But let's write some code in our 20 minutes that we have left. So we have our speech con intent handler. Let's just build a sound effect intent handler. Start there, and we'll figure out as we go. So this is going to be sound effect. Hopefully writing this code won't take too long. Effect intent handler. Copy. All right, take care, man. Thanks 9Live for being here. We appreciate it. Good to see you. A sound effect intent handler needs to be added down here to the bottom. Put it right after speech con. And sound effect intent handler is, this needs to be the sound effect. I'm pretty sure I would have named it that way. I should check, right? Sound effect, sound effect, sound effect. Where are you? Sound effect, okay, 2 caps. Okay, sound effect intent, this is going to be sound effect intent. And then we need to go into our handler folder. And we'll use the sound effect. The speech con intent is our base, but I think we'll have a simpler solution here than we did for that. Maybe not. Who knows? We'll see. This is going to become sound effect intent.js. And now we need to change a few things. So sound effect intent. Copy that, drop it here. Sound effect intent. And then down here at the bottom I need to export that. Cool. We did our index already, right? No, we did not do the handler index. Sound effect intent. Okay, now we have this sound effect intent listed there. The sound effect intent lives here, and we'll need to tweak all this code because it doesn't actually do anything yet. And this calls sound effect. And if I call handlers dot, is it in the list, sound effect intent? It is. And it looks like, okay, that is what I want it to look like. All right, so that is all good. This can be closed. Whoa, why don't? Okay, you're good. That's good. That's good. This needs to be worked on. So we need to get your spoken words. We need to get your resolved words. That's some other search wizardry we'll have to figure out. Is like, what if you say cat purr? Am I going to go search the database? Because now I got to break those words apart and do individual searches on them. That we're starting to get messy. And then do we want to do fuzzy search? Like, it's a whole thing. So let's just lean on resolve for right now. This is going to be sound effect. Is the slot that we're looking at. Sound effect. We're just going to lean on the resolved words that we get, and we'll randomly pick one of those. So in this case, if resolved words doesn't equal undefined, then we have some resolved words. And we're going to need, I'm just going to get rid of this right now. We're going to get rid of this. We're just going to say, if there's one, play it. If there's more than one, pick a random one. Okay, and then for this is my, if there are no resolved words, then they just said, like, play a sound effect. That means we didn't resolve to anything. They just said play a sound effect or didn't give me a slot value at all. And in this case, then we're going to say, randomly grab a sound effect from the table and play it. And then I don't know what this else case is or how this even existed, but we'll get rid of that. I must have chopped something out. So those are our two cases. We either resolved something or we didn't, and then inside the first case, we're going to have, was there one or was there more than one? And I guess I don't even really care, because I could just get a random one always, and if there was one, then I'm just going to get the one, and if there's multiple, then I will get the random one. So I think we can do this in one go rather than multiple. So let's do const sound effect. Nope, don't want to do it that way. Sound effect equals, oh wait, nope, helper dot get random item, and the items I want to pass in are resolved words, and that's it. Okay, so that'll get me a random one out of my collection. So I now have a sound effect, but all I know is its ID and its value. Yeah, I know. I've been putting that off, W. Giorgio. Let me do that now. I know I'm making you nervous. And this with simple card, this is going to be the name of the sound effect. And then this will be the name of the sound effect. You can use this sound effect in your skill with the following SSML syntax. We're going to have a wrap sound effect. Function. So let's go look at that too. Helper. Where's my wrap? SpeechCon. Wrap sound effect. Gotta export that somewhere down here. Wrap. I want to get something good for lunch today. My stomach's already ready. Wrap sound effect, and now I want to make sure that I get that syntax right too. Alexa SSML audio. By the way, did Google change their font today? I feel like the font that they're using for the links today looks different. Audio source. And I think we can do this pretty nicely. So this is going to be a tick. That's going to be a tick. And then in here, don't need any of that. Why do I have parentheses around this other one? Okay, so the last piece that I need to do, I don't know why this one is this way. I'm annoyed and I want to fix it. SpeechCon. Like so. Backtick. Semicolon. Get rid of that. I don't know why that was like that. All right. So this one. Transportation. No. I hadn't considered that that was going to happen. Well, I'm going to need to know that for every one of these sound effects. How do I know that? Because if I go look at this sound, do we have the sound effects in here? No. Sound library. I need this category name for every one of these. Oh my gosh. It's not an impossibility. In fact, if we go back and look at this folder structure that we were looking at earlier, okay, I do have this. So it might be manual how I do it, but I think I could parse this file out and get air fire extinguisher on the beginning of that. It might be manual, but I think I can do it. So I have the data. That's the thing that I was worried about. I have the data. Okay. So how do I want to do this then? I guess I take this. And we'll have to have multiple values, so we'll have to have effect, category and effect, like that. And then this will be this will have to be, well, I'll just do it like this for now. We'll just do category, because I have to wrap up here in a minute. Why didn't you like that? Why are you not, you like that better? There we go. Category, and then this is sound effect. Okay. So that works. And we're wrapping our sound effect, and we're doing the thing that that was meant to do. In here, well, let's go to our data. I need to make this column. So sound effect is going to have I also wonder if I really need the ID. Maybe I could change this JSON to be the folder name instead. But let's do this first. We're not going to have locale, so I'm just going to change this. Because I don't even think when I get a SpeechCon, those do have Okay, we have a lot of work left to do here. Let's flip this around. We have our synonyms. Let's make this the last column. The Alexa JSON. And then we will also have a column that is category, I guess. It is useful, but I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to funnel myself the name of the category without calling the database. That's what I'm trying to figure out. Because all I have an option to get is the synonym itself, or the slot value itself, or this ID. And I feel like if I change this so the ID is actually the category name, then when I'm in my JSON, I'll get the category name here. And then I could just use those two values. Because there's never a time where I'm going to need to go get a sound effect by its record ID, because I'll never update them, right? There's nothing to update about these. There's no user interaction that I'm going to do that will require me to update these things. So I feel like that's probably okay. I don't love it though. So we get a random item from the items that we resolved. Otherwise, we need to grab a random sound effect. This is going to require me to call the database anyway. But for the times that I've resolved, it would be nice to not have to make the call. And so this needs to be category. Another thing I need to think about, and there's a lot to think about here. How do we randomly grab data from the database without bringing all of their records back? Surly Dev, thank you for the follow. Back and selecting Encode. This is another thing that I've struggled with a little bit, and it works really well for like our speech data, right? I'm pulling back a list of 10 or 12 items, and then I get all of them, and then in my code I decide to pick one randomly. For these sound effects, if I'm picking a random sound effect, I can't go grab 1,000 sound effects, bring them all down, and pick one. I really need to figure out how to pick them randomly beforehand. Like, I can limit the number I pull back, but it'll pull back the same 10 every time or whatever if I have them sorted by any classification. That's something else to think about. All right, I think we're going to have to stop here. This is, we're in the middle of some fun, but I also have some things I need to do. Okay, well, I think we're just going to pause here. We'll pick up, I probably will work on this over the weekend. So if I have an opportunity to get on stream, I will. And you guys get the emails or the notifications or whatever. But if it's not this weekend, then we'll be back on this first thing on Monday. But we're going to figure out this sound effects thing. And now you guys can tune into I think it's the Alexa channel, where you can watch Mr. Jeff Nunn. Ghostbat Games is here with the follow also. Wrapping up a nice stream with a couple new followers. Thank you guys for that. And yeah, make sure you guys tune into the Alexa folks. There's a lot of cool stuff happening today and always. So jump on, see what they're doing. And I'll see you guys back here again on Monday. Have a good weekend. Have a safe weekend. And let's see you all